What's up, everybody? This is the Gridiron Gilly Show. I'm the host, Gridiron Gilly. Special guest with me right now, Coach Ryan Blackmon with the Elkhart Elks. Coach Blackmon, how you doing tonight?
Doing great. Glad to be here. I appreciate you inviting me on.
Yeah, you were the first person who responded back to my email, so I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Um, Something I've mentioned in my other two interviews. It's a little too late, so I'll just go ahead and throw that out there now. This show that I decided to come up with was intended to shine a light on East Texas football, which you already know that. I already told you about that. But for the listener, whoever decides to listen to this, that's what it's for. I reached out to a bunch of coaches in the East Texas area, and I'll continue to do so to hear their story, to hear their experiences as a head coach, what it's like coaching in Texas, at their school, at their for you, you've been at the same program your entire life. Grew up there, you said. So it'll be, I mean, that's all you know. But for a lot of other coaches who traveled all around the state, maybe, or maybe had another profession beforehand, it'll be interesting, I think so, just hearing everybody's story and perspective on the game.
Yes, sir. I really appreciate you doing this. I think there's a lot of good stories out there in East Texas football, especially small East Texas schools, and uh, just appreciate you doing it.
Well, the more people I talk to, ever since I've started this journey the other day, I've had a lot of people reach out to me. People I haven't talked to in years. Um, People that I talk to regularly. Man, I didn't know you were doing this, man. I'm so proud of you. This is awesome. Because a lot of people want to do something like this. A lot of people think about it
Hmm.
uh, because football in Texas has a big following. So it's something that I don't take lightly, and it's something I'm going to do my best to shine a light on, like I said, and bring that light to East Texas football. I'm gonna have to edit a lot in here, but that's okay. Let me get a swig of water real quick. Alrighty, Coach Blackmon, you are um, 3A Division Two, Region Three, District 11, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I interviewed one of your counterparts. I guess that's the correct word this morning, Coach Mata from West Rusk. Last year, the district finished with New Diana in first place, Troop, ARP, West Rusk, Elkhart just missing the playoffs, and then you had Winona Buffalo.
Yes, sir.
This year, we don't know how it's going to shake up. Like I said earlier, they got Troop. This is just a prediction from Dave Campbell's, but they have Troop, ARP, New Diana, West Rusk, Elkhart, Buffalo, and Winona. So they have Elkhart still at 5, and then Buffalo, Winona, they swap. Um, like I told you on the phone when we spoke previously, I know a little bit about Elkhart because Joaquin has played them in the past, but that's all I know. I know it's in Anderson County. I know there's a church somewhere over there called Cedar Creek because I went to camp with those guys when I was a kid. But
Deep
that's
Creek
literally
Missionary Baptist Church.
yep. I went to camp with those guys when I was a kid. But that's all I know about Anderson County. I know Adrian Peterson, who my son, Adrian Beltre, that's where his name came from. So that's two Texas legends right there. But that's all I know about Elkhart. And you're from there. You grew up there. You graduated from there, and you've coached there for over 20 years, correct?
Yes, sir. This will be my 22nd.
And this is your first year as the head coach. So, in your time there, how many head coaches have you worked for, if you can remember?
8.
8 head
22
coaches.
years. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Fortunate
and
enough that I've had a lot of good men as a head coach here and that I could learn from. So it sounds like a lot, but it's been beneficial to me to learn from a bunch of different guys.
yes, sir, I understand that. So, let me ask you this, Coach: what is the culture at Elkhart? What is expected at Elkhart? Because I know in, like, let's say Joaquin, the expectation in football season, no matter if you are having a rebuild year or if you have a group of seniors who have been playing on varsity since, maybe freshman or sophomore year. The expectation is still the same in Joaquin every year in and year out, and that is to get into the playoffs and to grind and to play past Thanksgiving. Don't always happen, but that's the expectation. So let me ask you, what is the culture and the expectation in Elkhart? And if it's not that, how are you going to change that and transition that moving forward as the head coach?
Well, we have great community support at football, volleyball, all sports, and the expectations of the community are like every other small East Texas football town. They expect the football team to be successful. We haven't made the playoffs since 2014, and we've been close several times. But I think what the community itself expects is for us to put a product on the field that can be successful. Now, like you talked about the Joaquin's program, their playoffs year in, year out. That's our expectations as a coaching staff and as a football team is to build a tradition that where that's expected, where the playoffs are expected. We had, like I said, I've been here since born in 1981 and been an Elkhart native ever since. 80s, early 90s, we had really successful teams. We made the playoffs in 2013, 2014. Had good teams there. And I think always, like I say, always the expectation is to be successful, whether that is a 16-win season or whether that is just improvement. It depends on the year. And so I think for us to be successful this year, obviously we need to turn the corner. Like I said, we finished 5th last year in the district, so a successful season for us will be to turn the quarter, make the playoffs so that we can start building a tradition, or at least rebuilding the tradition we used to have.
Okay. And I respect that answer because that's what I would like to see. I went back and looked at some like what you're talking about. I didn't know y'all hadn't been in the playoffs in that long, but I went back and I looked at some records in the past 10 years or whatever, and I was like, dang, I didn't expect that. I thought Elkhart was pretty much at least 7-3, 6-4 team every year. So that was news to me. And has Elkhart been 3A Division II for a long time?
We have the last 2 realignments. We went back down to Division II. We were 3A Division I for many years.
Okay. And was that so? The last 2 alignments y'all have been small 3A.
Yes.
Whenever Joaquin was playing Elkhart, were you?
We were big 3A. Yeah.
Yeah, because we weren't even in the same district. So yeah, that's probably correct. I didn't even realize that, man. But yeah, what you say about building that culture, that's a big deal, man, and it can happen. It can happen. You know what it takes, obviously, because you've been there. You've been there 20-something years plus your whole life as a native. So you've seen successful seasons, you said, in the 80s and 90s, and you've seen 13 and 14, like you said. So you know what it takes, obviously, and you can get it done. We just got to make sure that we play past Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Not dribbling. We don't want to be dribbling basketballs around that time.
Yeah.
Let the basketball team do that. The football boys, they need to be playing football past Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm. And I've seen that happen before here, and I know what this community is capable of if we give them that product on the field. The support that they'll give would be amazing. So we're excited to start the year off, and hopefully we can build that tradition, and then the community support will even grow. We've got great community support, but I tell the kids all the time, I've seen it when we make the playoffs, the kind of support that this community gives. So when we do make the playoffs, that's to be expected.
Yes, sir. And you play Thursday night or Friday night?
We play Friday night in
Friday
Lovelady.
night at Lovelady. And what classification is Lovelady? Are they 2A, 3A?
They're 2A.
Small 2A?
I'd have
I
to
think
look.
I think they are small 2A.
I
I
think they
knew
are
they was
small
either.
2A.
I don't think they're in the same division as we are, but hey, we played those guys before, and they've. I don't think I don't think I've seen Joaquin beat those guys, but that's been years ago too. What do you see whenever you look at those guys, though? These are questions I've neglected to ask other coaches in past interviews, but this is something that's came to light. Uh, I get feedback from people, and they say, "Hey, you need to ask the coaches about their opponent they're facing that week, what they see, and just things of that nature." So that's what I'm doing.
So Coach Kirchhoff, Coach K does a great job at Lovelady. They've been very successful over the past several years. And you talk about a winning culture. That's what he's developed there in Lovelady. And so you can tell, even we played them last year, and you can tell through their scrimmage film this year that those kids expect to win. And so that goes a long way. Uh, the offense and defense that they run, they've been running successfully for several seasons. So it's second nature to their kids. And they have a lot of returning lettermen coming back, a senior, junior heavy varsity squad. And those kids have been successful since the seventh grade. So you can definitely tell that they play with a passion, and they're very well coached.
Okay, and I mean, really, that's all I got. That's all I wanted to know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care about them. I'm not interviewing their coach right now. I'm interviewing Ryan Blackmon, the Elkhart head coach. But I did see, I was reading in Campbell's. I did see this cat Dalton Walker.
Yes.
You still have him as your running
Yes.
back?
Yes. He's our starting tailback.
Okay, let me ask you this, Coach, because I know the magazines they pass out every Friday night at the football games. You know, with the rosters,
Mm-hmm.
it'll say some cat he's 6'4", 300 pounds, but really he's maybe 6'2", 250. So I saw this guy. It says he runs a 4.440. Coach. Is that for real?
He's legit. He ran a 10.5 900 last year at a track meet. Uh, that was his best time. He's a mid-10 guy in the 100. He also, he was very successful on track last year. He's got a lot of power, a lot of burst. He long jumped 23 feet, broke our school record in the 100 last year as a sophomore. Triple jumped 46 feet. So he's very explosive, very strong.
So he's a junior this year.
Yes.
So you'll have him for a whole nother year next year. 4.440 though, 5'10", 175 pounds is what it said, and he had 1,250. It said rush yards.
Yes.
So that's not accounting for if you throw the ball, he probably had receiving yards too.
He started out last year as our starting slot receiver, and due to some injuries, we had to use him more in the backfield, and he kind of won the starting tailback position. And so I think it was about week 4, week 5 when he finally became our number one tailback, and that's when he gained most of those yards.
Yeah, so sounds like a pretty successful cat,
Mm-hmm.
and something that I'm sure he remained healthy the entire season to have those numbers.
Yes.
That's something that a lot of small schools, I would say 3A is still small. In my opinion, 3A is the best football. The best football, in my opinion, in the state of Texas is played in Class 3A. Even back whenever Canadian, I'm not even sure what Canadian does anymore, if they're still an elite program. I'm sure they are. But back whenever those guys and Newton, they're still doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Dangerfield, and those are 2 East Canadians in the Panhandle. That's where my dad lives at. But Newton and Dangerfield, those are East Texas teams,
Yes.
and they are some hard hitters. They're some thumpers, and they play exciting football. And that's what I think 3A Division II, personally, I think is the best football. I was telling Coach Mata earlier that I'm glad Joaquin doesn't have to play those guys, but I also wouldn't be mad if they did because I think they would get better for it.
Yeah, there's a lot of good football at the 3A level. You get you still get the small town feel of a football game Friday night. You don't have the large stadiums that you see in the 5A, 6A programs. So it's still a hometown feel in football on Friday nights. And so it's just, the communities get really behind their football program because that's what everybody's doing on Friday night. It's a small team. Like our town has 1,200 people in it. Our high school has 300 kids. So Friday nights, that's what everybody does. Just like at Joaquin and other smaller school programs, that's everybody's involved with the football program, be it the cheerleaders, band, the parents of the cheerleaders and band. So everybody can kind of come around the programs when you're in those smaller schools.
And there's a lot of, would you say, I mean, Elkhart's big sports are probably what, football, basketball, baseball? That's probably the top three. It seems like everybody in the
Yeah.
state is always, if you got football, it seems like football is the priority in Texas. Even if the schools are not that successful at it, it seems like that's the priority. So would you say that Elkhart is a football school? I'm not sure how the basketball and
Well,
baseball program is.
our baseball program has been traditionally a really good program. Several district championships, playoff bound last year. Over the past, I would say, since the late '80s, we have almost 30 district championships in our baseball program. So our baseball program has been very successful. 3 trips to the state semifinals. So I don't know if you consider us a baseball school, but our baseball program has been very successful on the boys' side. Our track program has been pretty successful over the past few years. We have 3 district championships in the past 6 years, 7 years. So we have success in other sports as well. But like you said, it's small town East Texas, so football is, especially because the school year's starting, everybody comes to the football game. So I think every school in Texas is a football school.
Do y'all have grass or turf on your field?
We still play on natural grass.
Okay, because I remember I've only been there once, but I remember it was grass. Are you a grass or turf guy? I'm a grass guy. I like grass better. Seems like the NFL is kind of leading that way towards grass. They get a lot of complaints about that.
I prefer natural grass. I know that the artificial surfaces they have now are amazing, and there's not a whole lot of difference. But I just think it's a better playing surface.
Well, that's really all I got as far as talking about that stuff. I'll hit you with some questions,
Okay.
and then I'll get you out of here. Okay, Coach? You look like you're still at the school. You're probably ready to get home.
Yes, sir.
I think I've already asked you. About your expectations for the district. You were talking about building that culture and instilling that culture in your team. Just you got to grow gradually, but you got to stay consistent. Also, it's pretty much what you said. Who is Elkhart's rival, if they even have one? Who would you say is the team that the town really shows up for whenever you play them?
Well, it's kind of funny. Our rival for many years, even back when I was in school, was always Grapeland because we're 8 miles down the road and we were always in the same district. But Grapeland is now 2A Division II. We're 3A Division II, so we're never in the same district. We didn't play each other this last realignment. So if you ask someone my age or older, they're going to tell you it's Grapeland. But then more recently, we've been in a district with Westwood when we were in 3A Division I. And so for many years, we played Westwood. And that, of course, just down the road as well in Palestine. That was what you probably, if you ask people who graduated in the 2000s and 2010s, it would be Westwood. And so the last few years, we haven't played either one of those. So I don't know exactly who you could pin our rival down as right now. But we do have, hopefully we can get one of those schools back on the schedule for the future. And you never know, with the next realignment, we may be back in with Westwood. We may be, who knows? But if I had to say our true rivals, just for proximity circumstances, it would be a Palestine Westwood or Grapeland. Now, in the district we're currently in, us and Buffalo are kind of removed from the schools on the northeast side of our district. I don't know that we're technically a rival, but just proximity would put us closer together. And we're also in a spring district, so we see those people all year long in football, basketball, baseball, track. So I don't want to say it's just a true rival, but that's the one school that we do get to see all year long in every sport. So it would probably be Buffalo.
Well, if I didn't edit out all of that smack talk Coach Mata was talking earlier, you'd probably have another rival. Just kidding.
No, I like Coach Mata. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he was very kind and he was very, I guess, supportive is a good or positive about the Elkhart program. He said y'all was his toughest competition, despite what the scoreboard said. I'm not sure who won that game, but he said despite the scoreboard, y'all was the toughest competition they played.
We had one of our better games against West Rusk last year. They ended up on top. I think it was 28-6 or 28-8, somewhere in that range. But it was a good physical game, and every coach in this district does a really good job and prepares their teams. And so week in, week out, you're gonna have to battle.
Okay, what? I haven't asked you this yet. I'm not sure if I asked Coach Mata this, but what got you into coaching? What made you want to be a coach? Because it seems like you got out of high school, went to college, you had a plan, you knew what you wanted to do, and you accomplished that. So what got you into that?
I like competition. I played sports from the time I was 5 years old, probably even earlier than that. But I just really like competition. Kids ask me a lot, is football your favorite sport? Is this your favorite sport? I was a track coach before. Is track your favorite sport? And I always tell them my favorite sport's whatever the Elks are doing. I just like the competition. So I think that's kind of what drove me to this profession, because I still get that sense of competition coaching, and I enjoy that part of it. And obviously anybody that coaches enjoys being around the kids, enjoys watching the kids learn, watching the kids grow. So that's, I guess, why I would do it. But I'd say the competition part is really what got me into it.
And then this question, the rest of the questions, pretty much questions I'm going to ask on every single person I interview.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just easy to answer questions. You a college football or an NFL guy?
College.
Most everybody is. I don't think I will get an NFL answer. Who's your team?
I'll still watch it, but
you got a college team you support?
Well, any Texas team. I graduated from SFA, so I'm always rooting for the Lumberjacks, and then whichever team's from Texas. Now, the big question, I see your A&M flag, is am I a Longhorn or am I an Aggie? And I like them both. I know you're not supposed to do that, but I do enjoy any Texas football team. But my team's the Lumberjacks.
Well, I got this LSU flag right here, and I got this A&M flag, and I got this SMU flag. SMU is probably my favorite Texas school, honestly, and I know that because when A&M, when Texas, any of the Baylor, Texas Tech, when they lose, I'm like, whatever. But when SMU loses, it kind of hurts me. So
yeah, they had a good season last year. It was a good year for the Mustangs.
I went to one of their games. It was I thought College Game Day would be there, but I think they went to Penn State, Ohio State, which made sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, SMU, they had a very good year. They just I figured it would happen to them whenever they made the playoff. What would happen? But yeah, I got the LSU flag. That's probably the team I like the best. But I picked Clemson in my college football video I did last night. I picked Clemson to beat them in Clemson Saturday. People say, why you say that if that's your team? Well, because I think I know stuff. I think I'm pretty smart and intelligent, and I think Clemson's going to get the better of them. I think they got a better defensive line, and I think that's what it takes in football. I think if you have a defensive line as good as Clemson has, you can pretty much win a lot of football games because you can control the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and Clemson, I think Clemson's going to surprise a lot of people this year. They got a 4-year quarterback coming back, and like you say, they're dominant up front. That's what helped University of Texas last year, was just defensively their front was really good against the run, and they're going to struggle to, I don't say struggle, but they've got to replace a lot of guys on that front line if they want to be as successful as they were last year.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I said Will Campbell great tackle, but he just went in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
I know the Southeastern Conference is the ninth. What do you call it? The ninth division in the NFL.
Yes.
Or I think that's what they call it. So the SEC that's their pride. They're built on being bigger, stronger, faster than everybody. But man, I don't know. I just think Clemson's defensive line is going to be all over them, and that's just me not being. That's just me being a realist. Let's just say. But I did pick Texas Tech and Utah to be the top two teams in the Big 12. I think Utah had a down year last year, their first year in, but they got a sneaky good quarterback. He just transferred there from Arizona. I think he's going to put on a show. He had some good numbers last year in Arizona, or not Arizona, New Mexico.
Mexico.
New Mexico, yeah. And his coordinator that was in New Mexico transferred with him to Utah, so he's going to be their coordinator over there. And then Tech, it's not Phil Steele magazine, but it's another college football magazine I got. I was reading it, and it's like the top each conference you look at. It has the top transfers, and Tech has, I think, 3 top 10 transfers, and they're all defensive linemen. So I was like, well, if that's the case, then Tech's going to be pretty nasty because they have a good offense no matter what.
Yes.
I was like, if Tech, and I heard Tech put a lot of money out in NIL this year, so that's probably where it went, was beefing up that defensive line. So I like those two teams, but
Arizona State's going to be in the Big 12 too, though.
Who is?
Arizona State.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, though. They were picked. That's such an unpredictable conference. They were picked last year. They got first.
Mm-hmm.
They still got their quarterback.
Quarterback's coming back. They have to replace good running back, but
yeah. That's the only thing I've considered. I was like, the best running back he was probably the best running back in college football, either him or Ashton Genty, and they both went in the draft. So I don't know how good he was. I mean, Cam Scatterbo, as far as if Arizona State will be consistent without him,
Yeah.
I guess we'll see. But I mean, I'll put them in the top 6 in the conference. I think BYU will still be competitive. I like their head coach. But a lot of Texas schools, Baylor's going to be up there, and TCU, they got all 3 of those schools, Tech, Baylor, and TCU, have really good quarterbacks, I feel like, and are going to put up a lot of points. But next question, because I can ramble about college football all day long. What best football movie in your opinion?
The Replacements.
The Replacements?
Keanu Reeves. Yeah, it was there's a late 90s movie, Keanu Reeves, The Replacements, about the professional football players going on strike, and the replacement players come in and take over. I don't know why. I just really like that one.
Friday Night Lights. That's the one that I'm just going to say every time. I'm not going to explain it. But that's my favorite, Friday Night Lights. A lot of good ones, but if you had to delete every one of them off the face of the earth and only keep one, that would be the one I keep.
That's a good one.
Movie. It hits me every time. Okay. Are you? No, that's not the question. The question is, would you rather win a game 48-0 or 6-0?
Well, I think 48-0.
48-0.
I do.
Do what? No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I just think, as a coach, when you plan, you spend a lot of time working on a game plan, offensive, defense, and then when everything works and you have a great game and you win 48-0, it kind of solidifies what you were doing. So I love the games that end up being 6-0 or 8-6, and it's a back and forth all night long football game. But as a coach, who wants to live a long and healthy life, I think the ones where you're in control for the whole game are a little bit more comfortable.
I didn't think about it when I came up with that question, but that's a pretty um Coach Lewis, I think he said 6-0, but
Mm-hmm.
um Coach Mata said 48-0, and you said 48. And that, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that makes sense because you win regardless. Your
Yes.
defense your defense played lights out regardless. The
Mm-hmm.
only difference is your offense put up 48 or your offense puts up 6 because their defense was playing lights out as well. They just happened to slip up one time.
Let's
So,
see. If you would have worded it, would you rather have won 6-0 or 66-62?
yeah,
I think I would have
and
said 6-0 because I'm more of a defensive guy. So I would like to have a better defensive, you know, game, I suppose.
yeah. And I used to like those games, the ones that was 48-47, 52-55. But I've got to where I like defense a little bit more now. A 6-0 game, that's too low for me. But if you keep it around the teens to 20 something, those are the games I like right there because
Mm-hmm.
you got 4 quarters to play. You can punch it in a few times in 4 quarters at least. Do you kick PATs or you a 2 point conversion guy?
We kick PATs.
Okay.
Now, me personally, last year we did not. Last year we were a swinging gate team on 2 point conversions. But this year we will be, you know, at least attempting to
Kicking the
kick
extra
PAT.
point.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all kick field goals? You got a good field goal kicker?
Uh, we have one that's pretty accurate, just doesn't have a long range. It's our kid who does. He's kicked off for us, he punched for us, and he's pretty accurate on PATs and just doesn't have great range.
Would you rather? Because I didn't ask those questions before, but I'll just throw them in there every now and again when I think on it. Would you rather win a game by a game-winning touchdown or a goal line stand?
Uh, Goal line stand, definitely.
Okay, so you'd rather score a lot of points, but you would rather your defense win you the game. So I don't know if you're an offensive or defensive minded guy, but I'm just going to say you're an offensive minded guy.
I think I don't know. I've spent a lot of time. I was an offense coordinator for several years, but over the past 5 years, I've primarily been on the defensive side, and so I think it just kind of depends on when you ask me. 5 years ago, it was no doubt I'm an offensive guy, but just learning the uh, ins and outs of defense and getting to work with some really good defensive minded coaches, I've grown to love the defensive side of the ball and just the strategy part of the defensive side.
Well, I am an offensive minded guy. I found we just moved into this. We bought this house, moved in a few months ago in the spring. But in the move, I've got a box. My wife hates it because I just keep my stuff in a box, and I'll do something with it one day. Well, I've got a box, and I've had it since I was probably in junior high, or not the box, but this notebook that's in the box, and it's a bunch of football plays I used to come up with, and I was like, oh, this will be good, this will be good, this will be good, and I still have it. I found it whenever in that move, and I was like, I'm gonna keep this, and she's like, why? And I was like, because you never know, I might go to school and be a coach one day, and these might actually work. You never know. So I know nothing about defense. I would not be a good defensive coordinator. I would just blitz all. I would just blitz all night long. Um, that's all the questions I have. Other than if I make the drive to Elkhart this year to watch
Mm-hmm.
the Elks play, that's probably a little over 2 hours for me. But if I decide to do that, I'll get hungry along the way. Where's a good spot to eat at in Elkhart or anywhere nearby Elkhart?
Uh, if if you're going through, if you come in, Palestine 6 miles down the road. If you wanted to, if you like Mexican food, there's a place called Mario's on the north side of Palestine, I think. Really good, excellent cantina Mexican food that I really enjoy. If you're if you would rather have a barbecue or hamburger or something like that, there's a really good place downtown Palestine called Pint and Barrel. So either one of those would be really good spots to hit. But I will tell you, we don't really have restaurants in Elkhart, but we do have a Kim's, and the Kim's that we have has a deli, or I guess would be a counter there, and they make a really good hamburger. So if you just want to stay in Elkhart, you can go to Kim's and get a really good burger. They call it the Old Timer. It's got bacon, cheese, and a fried egg on it. Can't go wrong with that.
Is that a convenience store?
It is a convenience store. There's
Okay.
several of them around, but it does have a small diner inside of it.
Okay, I thought so. Yeah, because I've been through Elkhart. I actually worked before I got into leasing. I worked. I did like contract work for the power companies, and I think one of the last jobs I did was in Elkhart, and I was like, "There's absolutely nothing in this town." I don't even know if there's a motel there because we were staying at a motel in Palestine. But yeah, man, that's all I got. That's all I could come up with. We went pretty long, but that's what I expected. I wanted it to be good. I don't think I have too much to edit. I'm gonna edit this out, obviously. But Coach, I enjoyed it. I hope you have a great season. I hope you stay healthy. And I would like to see that Dalton Walker cat. I'd like to see them numbers improve. I want to see him catch some passes. And I just want y'all to be healthy, man. I want y'all to have a good year and improve. Ain't got to get first, but you got to get fourth.
Yeah, that's our goal this year, is just show improvement and start building on, the tradition part, building it back. And I appreciate you having me on. I think it's awesome what you're doing. You know, college football, high school football, I like any kind of football. And so just you being able to get some exposure for some of these smaller programs, I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm gonna give it all I got this year, and I might get y'all back on later on in the season. We'll see.
Okay.
But
Sounds
take
good.
care, man. Get home safe. All right.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.